Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Mon, Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. Hooday to everybody. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Kind of an impromptu show just to be able to talk to you guys, talk a little Bengals football, and as we inch closer to fall camp and a lot of Bengal news hopefully to come. We're going to talk a little bit about our next show, which is going to be awesome. Eric, I know you're going to kind of plug that toward the end, but before we get to all that, Mon, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, man. How you doing, buddy? You good?
I'm good. Glad that we're doing a show. Just got back from Cincinnati. Had a great time up there at my family reunion, and got to see all the great landmarks. Got to go to some museums. Got to see Paycor. It was fun. It's a fun town. I looking forward to hopefully going up during football season. But I'm glad we're back in Florida and we're about to do another show.
Absolutely, Eric. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, it's that time of year. We're waiting for some Bengals football. Well, I'm down here going through all the calculations in my head on going up to training camp. We're 90% that we're going to go up to training camp, but right now I'm
Nice.
doing the pre-planning, trying to figure out what days we can go, what days we shouldn't go. Kind of disappointing because the season ticket member special day is on Sunday, which training camp starts on Wednesday. I'd like to be there for the first day and the season ticket member, but I think I'm going to have to wait. But real excited to do that. Maybe sneak over to Jungle Jam. I think that might coincide. I'm not sure if that's the same week or not.
I think it's a
Um,
week before, right? Or
okay. Well, I'm excited looking into getting back to Cincinnati. Before we came on here, I was showing Mon all of my Rubik's cube of where to stay. Florence is Cincinnati. Stay here for the cheapest
I,
hotels. Get a
I
rental
call that
car.
I call that the Eric slash Clark Griswold
Listen,
travel
Florence is
advice.
so close to the stadium that you could get on your snow sled like Clark Griswold, and you'll be to the stadium in no time. Mom's got to do what you got to be for the Jacksonville game.
What was that? It was some kind of food preservative, right? He put on the bottom of that.
Was it a food preservative or was it like a Pam? It was like a Pam thing, I
Yeah, but I think
think.
it was like to preserve food or
Non-stick.
something.
Yeah.
That's such a
Listen,
classic.
we'll find it. We'll make sure that Mon can ride that sled all the way to Paycor.
That would be hysterical. And Mon does have a plate in his head, so a lot of similarities between him and cousin Eddie.
Oh, Lord.
Hey,
almost.
yeah. So
Next time.
let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about this because again, I know Eric, you haven't watched it yet. I'm through the first show and halfway through the second. I haven't seen a Bengal win yet. Just so everybody knows, all I did was watch this quarterback show on Netflix. I
Well,
watched it through the Commanders game, and I'm in my living room just cussing up a storm watching that disgusting football.
you can't expect the Bengals win if you've only watched two episodes. You got to get to at least episode three.
Well,
That's
no,
how
I
life
paused
works,
it.
Jake.
Listen, I paused it because about to go on air, but I paused it right before Carolina week. So I feel like I'm going back in there after the show. I'm going to feel very good about Joe Burrow. But if you have not watched it, I can tell you just from I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'll just tell you, if you are not a Joe Burrow fan, you are about to be one because seeing that side of him is absolutely it's incredible. And my wife Angela, we're sitting there watching, and she's like, "This is awesome! Like you've never seen this side of Joe Burrow before." Because he's so quiet. He doesn't do all the stuff that some of these other quarterbacks do as far as get in front of the camera and all this stuff. I know he's always in front of the camera because he's one of the elite quarterbacks. But seeing this side of him is really cool because you see what away from football too, and it's just a cool. I didn't watch the first season, Mon. Did you watch the first season of quarterback?
I did not. I did. I take that back. I'm sorry about that noise, guys. I watched one episode, the episode where Pat Mahomes lost to the Bengals during the regular season.
Oh,
I did.
yeah, I forgot that would have been that year. That's right.
I did see that episode, and that's it. I didn't really watch any other.
That's
I,
just,
I did. That's the only one I watched. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did watch half of the first episode. Um, I'm gonna watch every episode. I'm not gonna say I'm not, but it just reopens a lot of wounds,
it
and
does.
it's
It
I mean, I knew it was
does.
gonna happen. It's gonna go down. Listen, the critiquing and the concerns. I can't do anything about it. Nobody in America, nobody in the world has a time machine that I know of that can go back and fix things.
Doc
Uh,
Brown.
I'm
Brown. If
sick
you
and
can find
tired of talking about, they should have done this, they should have done that. It's well documented on the show, our opinions and what we think the Bengals should have done. I don't want to harp on that anymore. I just want to start looking at the positives for the upcoming season. But watching the show, and I'm not going to lie to you, one of the worst losses ever for me as a Bengal fan.
I know what you're gonna say.
And it's Super Bowls, AFC Championship game to the Chiefs. I get it; those are big, high-profile losses. The 2015 meltdown of Paul Brown. You don't go into a season opener 9-point favorites and lose to one of the worst teams in football.
Yes.
That's a monumental screw up. Set the
man.
tone for a shit season, and it cost us. And
Ooh,
watching
yes.
those highlights, man, I'm telling you, it made me salty again. And
Me too.
it made me
Come on,
salty
you've been
again.
salty all off season.
I know, I have been. Like I just said, I don't want to. I want to look forward. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of this Potsy Weber, Zack Taylor. Come on, guys. Shucky darns. We're going to get this. We got you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of it. I want him to light some people's asses on fire and say, hey, shit's unacceptable. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, Mon, you and I remember when Marvin had his meltdown in the locker room. That was one of those. That's one of my favorite Marvin Lewis moments, to be honest with you, where the famous you have to be a pro. I loved that. I don't know if we're ever going to see that from Zach. I don't know if Zach has that in him. But you were right about that Patriots. That's why I was cussing the whole time I'm watching the first episode. And my wife's like, Jake, the season's over. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Watching that debacle, Mon is right, in 40 plus years, that is definitely top 5 of one of the worst losses, I think, in Bengals history, because
most disappointing.
It cost us a playoff spot. The way the season worked, if you win that football game, you're in the playoffs. You beat the Broncos. You don't have to worry about the Chiefs situation. If you win that game, you have the head-to-head against the Broncos. You have an AFC win. You're in the playoffs. If you beat the one of the worst teams in football. I mean, it's just, oh my God, it was awful.
In 2 weeks, training camp starts in 2 weeks. Mock turtle soup. Zack Taylor is well aware. Every beat writer, every podcaster like us has talked about slow starts, has talked about this Patriot game. You know what? The seat is warm. I mean, he's not going to get fired, but the seat is warm. If there is another catastrophic start to the season like last year and the year before and all that, I mean, is Al Golden going to be our coach in 2026?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I hope that's not the case. Guys, the season is about to start. I'm so excited about it. I've been reviewing the roster, trying to get amped up about some of these young players. I mean, like I said, I can't go back and fix anything. I don't have the power to fix it anyway. Yeah, I wish they would have done more, but hey, it's time to look forward. We need to get to 11, 12, 13 wins this year and take advantage of Joe's talents in the playoffs.
Well, let me ask you guys. I do want to ask this because I think it is interesting. I know we talked a little bit about it a while back, but what constitutes, and again, I'm not wishing this obviously, but what constitutes Zack Taylor being fired? I'm talking about for this season. What constitutes a Zack Taylor firing, in your guys' opinion? Eric, I'll let you go first. What constitutes the Bengals splitting ties with Zack Taylor if what doesn't happen this season?
If Joe Burrow's healthy and we miss the playoffs, Zach's gone. He has to be. You cannot miss the playoffs with a healthy Joe Burrow 2 years in a row. That's just malpractice. You cannot do it. And it all goes back to those fast starts. You got to go win those games you need to win. We play Cleveland followed by Jacksonville. We should be 2-0. There's no excuse for us starting out 1-1 or 0-2. 1-1 is it's more possible and more palatable because the Jaguars they do have a really good quarterback. They've got some young stars there. They've got that new coach, kind of a dead cat bounce type thing, but you should be 2-0, and 1-1 to me is not acceptable. But if you're 0-2, I'd get rid of him right there. I'm not doing it anymore. But if they just miss the playoffs with a healthy Joe Burrow, that's it.
Mon, what do you think?
I gonna agree with Eric. If he goes 3 years in a row without a playoff appearance with that skill set of players, I do understand that Joe was hurt 2 years ago with the wrist injury. But if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, I think there could be a coaching change. It's just what a shame. If they go 3 years in a row with a generational quarterback like that, and it's I hope that doesn't happen. I hope Zack Taylor ends up signing a contract extension, 5-6 years. That means he's winning and doing really well. That's what I'm hoping for. But if they don't make the playoffs, we've seen it in the past. We've seen teams that can't get over the hump. They bring in a new coach and they go to the Super Bowl. Gruden in Tampa, it's just there's a lot of sometimes just a change of scenery, a new voice in that room is what teams need. Hopefully the Bengals are going to get that with Golden, Scott Peters, and all the other coaches that were added. But if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, if the Bengals have another 500 type season, I think there's going to be some soul searching going on.
I don't think this is going to happen. I really don't. I think this is something that is lingering in this locker room, and that is the slow start. Mon, I know you said you watched the first half of the first episode of The Quarterback. Joe Burrow talks about that exact thing, about we went 1-1, then we went 0-2, then we went 0-2. And obviously he's in that last season, so doesn't even realize that he's about to go 0-3. So I'm with you, Eric. And again, I know that the chances, we probably have a better chance of seeing Bigfoot walking down 95 tomorrow than the Browns cutting ties with Zack Taylor after week 2. But if they have a slow start again, it could get very interesting.
Just remind everybody, we do live in Florida, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in Florida. So if we see Bigfoot walking hand in hand with Zack Taylor, we know that Mike Brown pulled the trigger. I don't want to go too negative with this because this is a good question of what could happen. I'm going to tell everybody it's not going to happen. That's what should happen if the Bengals don't make the playoffs. I'm fully all in that we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to be the number 1 seed. But at the worst case scenario, we needed one more win last year, and we're going to get that this year just because of the additions that we made. We're going to get that one more win. I believe we're going to get a lot more than that, but we're absolutely going to get that one more win. So we're going to be staring down the barrel of a Zack Taylor extension, and let's pray to God that it's after a Super Bowl, because that's all we need is a quarterback or coach getting extended after his team, got bounced in the first round or something. Just got a little bit better. I want them to take that leap, and I believe they're going to take that leap. I'm not looking for another replay of what Marvin got in all those years where he almost got it done.
Well, on a positive note, flip it to a positive note, the Bengals winning 9 games last year with that horrendous defense, I think it speaks volumes of where this offense could go. We really haven't seen any serious turnover when it comes to this offense. Almost really more of an upgrade, I would say, especially in the interior of the offensive line. Not a huge upgrade, but definitely an upgrade if anything. I mean, the Bengals offense, it has got to be coming into this season ranked as one of the top 3 offenses in the NFL. Defensively, that's obviously the question. We've talked about this on the show. Mon has talked about it all the time. Mon, the Bengals, have they done enough defensively to get us back to the playoffs? That's obviously the question. I think that everybody in Bengaldom is asking themselves, obviously with the Trey Hendrickson situation, which it sounds like there's a possibility it's going to get done. When, we don't know. But, hindsight, let's say Trey Hendrickson stuff gets done. Do you feel like this Bengals defense is where it needs to be?
I a big unknown. That's to be determined, and same thing with the interior offensive line, to be determined. We drafted a guy in the 3rd round. We got Lucas Patrick. I don't know if they're better. We're going to have to find out, we'll find out soon enough. Same with the defense. We talked about it last week, Jake. I think the key to the 2025 Bengals is going to be pretty simple. We had 27 sacks last year and only 55 Eric quarterback pressures, easily towards the bottom of the league, like 30, 31. I mean, it's some of the worst in the league. This team has to generate pressure. They have to make quarterbacks uncomfortable, and they have to control the line of scrimmage. Our young secondary, Cam Taylor Britt, I still don't know what he is. Last year he dropped off. Are we going to get the 2023 Cam or 2024? What's going to help that secondary is if these quarterbacks are a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
if they don't feel comfortable in the pocket. Incomplete pass. A bad, a rushed attempt, whatever, could lead to an interception, could lead to a fumble, could lead to a punt. And guess what? That gets the Bengals the ball back. That's what I want to see, and I think a pass rush will do that. 27.5 sacks last year. My hot take, I think the Bengals get to 50. I think they have to.
Wow.
50 quarterback sacks. I think they have to, because that's the key to helping out this young developing defense. By week 9 and 10 of this upcoming season, we'll know what this defense is. I think they're going to be a middle of the tier unit. And, I think for us to say, hey, our defense is going to be top 10, that's going to be another couple of years before that happens. Jake, I hope they get better. They need to. It's essential for this team.
I do too. I mean, obviously that's just going over some of this stuff really quick that we've talked about before, but the Bengals average giving up over 25 points a game. So it's not just the yards and it's the time of possession. It's everything that goes into the defense not being able to get off the field. Eric, your thoughts? Again, Bengals giving up 25 points a game. What do they need to get to? What do they need to get to get us back to the playoffs?
24. Listen, they don't have to improve that much. You got Joe MF and Burrow, and you went and you gave him supposedly another good lineman. You got happy weapons. Jamar Chase has his deal. T. Higgins has his deal. T. Higgins is locked up. You know what? Anytime that anybody goes out there and says that a player is injured, that he's going to make financial decisions, yeah, we can poo-poo that and say it's not necessarily always the case, but sometimes it is. The man's locked up, so if he's going to play injured, this is the year he's going to play injured because he's got his deal. You've done what you needed to do for Joe Burrow. This defense, if it improves 2%, we're going to be in the playoffs. We were almost there last year, 2 missed field goals away from claiming the AFC North. It doesn't have to be a lot. I think it will be, but it just has to be one less point per game because Joe Burrow is going to take care of his shit.
Houday to everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Yes, Houday, Dolores. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this defense, obviously, when you look at statistically where they were last year, getting off the field, obviously not a great job on third down, not a great job on fourth down. When we look at third and long, the situation there with, um, defensively again, not being able to get off the field on third down and long, I think is a huge thing. And that goes hand in hand with getting to the quarterback, right? I mean, third down is getting to the quarterback down and trying to find a way to get more pass rush. And again, Al Golden, I think he feels like he has solved that problem with drafting some of those linebackers that are going to he's going to use in that third and long situation with that interior pressure. So it's going to be interesting to see Al Golden. I think that all loops back, guys, to Zack Taylor. And, Zack, we talked about this on the last episode, guys. Zack Taylor picked this coaching staff. He's got his guys. He needs to do something with it, Eric.
I just want to jump on this. Austin was bringing this up to me a few days ago, and Dolores brings it up. So many missed tackles last year. The defense just giving up those extra yards and whatnot. What did the Bengals do? And I think this is a huge key. We talk about young players from the last few years, but they went out and drafted, I believe, the number one tackling linebacker in Demetrius Knight, or one of the top tackling linebackers available. And then he followed it up with Barrett Carter, who was the number one pass coverage linebacker in college football. That is huge. Look at that Steelers game where they just dinked and dunked over the middle, and it was there every time because we weren't going to cover the running back. We were just going to go tackle him. Well, now if you've got a linebacker that actually can prevent that throw from happening, you don't let the Steelers march up and down the field with 3 to 4 yard plays. I think those two linebackers alone are gonna equate to 1.5 to 2 points less per game easily. I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, talent is obviously very, very important in any sport, but so is attitude. And on defense, the last 2, 3 years, guys, we don't have that attitude. We're not a physical team. Last year, our most physical player was a 5'8" defensive back named Mike Hilton.
Yeah.
All right. He was the most fearless and physical player on our defense. Our guys get beat up and they get punched in the mouth. I said this on previous episodes. I want this team to be physical at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Don't absorb punches, deliver punches. All right. I'm not saying stupid penalties. They need to regain the line of scrimmage and get that physicality. I get it. We're not going to have the most talented group. We signed a fringe starter to be our right guard. We got Cody Ford, who's been a fringe starter. But you know what they can be? They can be physical. They can be nasty. That's what they can be. And I hope they are. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that attitude. I don't want to see anybody come in the Paycor and push us around like the Patriots did week 1 last year.
And I just want to remark on BT's comment, because I do think there is some relativity when you look at the Bengals. Yes, the Bengals defense did play better, but we've talked about those opponents those last 5 games, and I don't want to downplay the way the Bengals defense played, but I don't think it's easy to say that people are overreacting about this defense, guys. I mean, I think statistically there's a lot of proof out there of what this defense was last year. You're right about Mike Hilton. Are you guys as just dumbfounded as I am that Mike Hilton is still a free agent? I mean, last year the guy was dominant. I mean, why? I know the Bengals want to go young in that defensive back room, but man, take a swing at Mike Hilton again. He's a great locker room guy. He's a leader. How is he still on the street right now? It doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a good question, Jake. I think every NFL team has players like that, and he'll end up signing with somebody and have a good year.
The frustration with that is you've said that you have to flip the switch and you have to go with youth. And you got to run these young guys, but you let the heart and soul of that defense, Mike Hilton, the guy that leads by example, that leaves his heart on the field, gives it his all. You let him go. He should be that guy, kind of like Mike Thomas was, that you keep just to mentor those young guys and to yell at those young guys and say, "Hey, why didn't you give 100% effort that play?" And even if he's on the bench, they're going to listen to him. It's really disappointing, and we don't know what the contracts are. Maybe Mike could get a good contract, and maybe he's not happy with what they thought that he would want. But it's just frustrating because you're flipping this defense to a lot of young guys, and what do young guys need? They need mentors that lead by example, and they need Mike Hilton. They need 10 Mike Hiltons out there to embody what the Bengals should be.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I want to go back to what Mom was saying because I think it's it's the say all of our 25 the 24 season that just passed. Guys, I'm looking here again. When you talk about dominating both sides of the line of scrimmage, Mon, you hit it on the head, man. The Bengals had 88 first downs last season rushing the ball. 88 first downs rushing the ball. That's not a lot. It's really not. It's really not compared to everybody else. The Bengals gave up 137 first downs through people running the football. And that is one of the reasons why the Bengals missed the playoffs. Not only that, but we talked about those long conversion plays. The Bengals gave up 16 out of 27 fourth downs. 16 out of 27 fourth downs last year. The Bengals could not get off the field on those fourth downs. Guys, if you cut that number in half, that's probably 2 wins. If you cut that 16 fourth downs that they gave up, if you cut that in half to 8, that's probably 2 more wins right there, Mom. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, my dog was going crazy. Yeah, Jake. Tomorrow, quick plug for Ace and Zim. They have Warren Sharp on their show tomorrow live.
Yes.
And, I get his book every year. It's very detailed analytics. And we did talk about it a little bit last week, me and Eric and I on the show. There's a page here I want to talk about real quick. He ranks every NFL roster. His book, detailed metrics, it's a lot of the stuff I'm reading, I have to process, like, what's he talking about here? But it's over 500 pages, a lot of cool stuff. He has the Bengals ranked 19th best roster in the NFL. The 19th best. Obviously, quarterback and receiver is super high. Quarterback and receiver, top 3, top 4, top 5. Offensive line, he has ranked 31. This is towards data, how they block, pass block, run block, win rates, all this. 31st out of 32. He has running backs ranked 20th. Front seven, 25th in the league.
Wow.
Secondary, 28. Now, this is on production numbers. This is production numbers. This is their, what they did and everything. Head coach, he has ranked 18. To be 19th in the league when you have 31, 25, 28, and 20, it shows you how good your quarterback is. It shows you how good your wide receiver is.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is all numbers. Some people love it. People hate it. He sells a lot of these books or these subscriptions.
Yeah.
I just think it's just fascinating. Will those numbers improve? We'll find out. I hope next year's edition of his book has the Bengals offensive line at 15. I hope he has a front 7 at 10. We'll see. We'll see. But it's
I don't think that's a stretch with the front 7. I think defensive back wise, I don't know if I would say 28. That's a little. I mean, I'm thinking that's more because of the safety situation, probably.
He's not. See, you have to understand, he's not talking talent. He's going on what they did last year.
Yeah,
the actual production of what they did. It's talent wise. Yeah, I mean, you could say, hey, man, they're not 28 talent wise. but
Right.
what they did last year, they came in at 28th.
Yeah, you got a lot of potential, but you got to show it on the field and you got to stay healthy. This makes me come up with a question. Offensive line. What rank does our offensive line need to get to take us to that first number one or number two seed in the AFC? Mon, I'll go with you first.
Well, if you're using his databases, Pro Football Focus had him
I,
32.
but
Okay,
so
so
we're at 32 with
I
Joe
think
Burrow as our quarterback. How good do they have to be?
I think they have to get to at least 16, 15. Guys, I mean, we always say we just have to be average. We have to get in the 20s. Yeah, that's a positive compared to last year. When you get to the big dance, when everybody's 0-0 and all the good teams are in the playoffs,
Yeah.
a 24th ranked defense, a 23rd ranked offensive line ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Jake, what are your
have to get great
Oh, sorry,
production from those units.
And I think too, when you look at the offensive line wise, listen, the offensive line was not good last year. Well, let me say this. The interior of the offensive line was not good last year. This is still ended up being one of the top 5, top 8 offenses in the NFL. So if you're telling me that you have the Bengals offensive line ranked at 31, or not you, Mom, but Warren Sharp is telling me that it's ranked at 31. I don't know if it has to be that high, because if you're ranking them at 31, I think they got better. And again, I know you might not agree with me, but I think they got better. Houday, Cornell. I don't know if they have to be 15 or 16. I mean, if they're at 31 or whatever, did he say what he had him at last year? I guess that 31 would be how they finished the season, right? Is that what he's going on?
It's from game 1 to game 17. All
Okay.
the data he collected on playing the Patriots every game, they come in at 31.
I'm gonna say they need to get to about 20, 22. I mean, I don't think they have to get. If he's saying they're at 31, I don't think they have to get to 15 to be that much better. I mean, this offense was a top 5 offense in the NFL. Quarterback, and now again, I know he's a Superman. He makes incredible plays, and that's why he's the best in the NFL. But we almost had a 1,000-yard rusher. We threw for almost 5,000 yards. I mean, I don't think we have to get to 15. I think we need to maybe get to 22-ish. And I think that's 3 or 4 more wins. I mean, how good this is.
Well, you think about it, how close we were last year, how amazing Joe Burrow is at reading defenses and processing the field. We were at 31 and we were 3 points away from being in the playoffs multiple times. At least 3 different games we should have been there. I think that I want us to get to 16. But you know what happens if we get to 16? If Joe Burrow has the 16th best offensive line out there, you're going to circle back, and it's going to look like those Peyton Manning days and those Tom Brady days where they were sitting back there and just picking defenses apart. Like Joe Burrow with the top 15 offensive line, the defenses don't stand a chance, and we're talking back to back to back Super Bowls. I don't know that that's really accessible in this one year unless Fairchild is just an absolute hit, and I pray to God that he is. But I do think the 1 year leap, if we can improve 31 to 21, that's in the playoffs. That's still making the Super Bowl run.
I mean,
think
basically on the offensive line, guys, we basically just lost Kappa. Volson is still on this football team and is going to make this roster. I think we can agree on that. So basically, you just replaced Kappa with Fairchild, which I feel like we all think that's an upgrade. I would say this offensive line is already better. And obviously, too, if we have that confidence in Scott Peters that he makes a huge difference, I think this offensive line already is much, much better than what we saw, that crap we saw on the field last year. But that crap we saw on the field, still, that didn't cost us the playoffs. Our defense, we
Yeah.
lost 3 or 4 games scoring 30-plus points. You know what I mean?
Fairchild replaced Volson. He's going to be the left guard. Kappa's replacement is Lucas Patrick and or Cody Ford.
But you know what I mean, man? I'm saying, like,
yeah.
We're just replacing really one guy as far as because Volson's still on. But yes, you're right. Yeah.
You're right that the defense was the main problem last year, and the offense was, this is scary for the NFL. The offense, as potent as it was, still has a lot of room to improve. They were scary good last year. They really were. But you know what? I mean, they can improve. They can help the defense out running the ball a little bit better. They get a little bit more physical in that offensive line. Guys, I mean, I'm not worried about scoring points. I'm not worried about being electrifying and 70-yard bombs and all this explosive stuff. I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Eric, I read those stats last week. Guys, I'm not trying to be a worrywart here, but we can't have my quarterback hit as much as he has. No quarterback's been hit more in the NFL than Joe Burrow.
I agree.
Under 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, Jake, all I'm saying is this. Every Bengal fan says it. Numbers don't lie. Don't lie. And so they bring in a fringe starter. I mean, Joe.
Listen,
you already deserves better than that.
Oh, yeah. You already know how I feel about the additions. Yeah. Listen. Yeah. I'm disgusted with what we did at guard. I'm just saying I still think we are better at that position.
I agree with that.
How much better is hard. I want to talk about this too, because let's not give Darren Simmons a pass, right? Because I think when you look at last year as a whole, guys, obviously Lou took the brunt of the disappointing year, but Darren Simmons and the special teams has declined. It has. Now we have a generational punter, but that's talent. That's a talent. The kid's got a leg. He can boot it 70 yards. That's a talent. But when you see your kicker take a huge step back like Evan McPherson did this year, I don't think we can give Darren Simmons a pass on this, because the special teams cost us, we could say probably 2 or 3 games. If Evan makes those kicks, we probably win the division, right? So I think it's interesting that Darren Simmons kind of flies under the radar when we talk about who's on the hot seat. Do you agree with that take that Darren Simmons is on the hot seat? You don't. Wow.
I don't. Well, I mean, Jake, I do agree with the fact that our kicker has struggled. But if you look at the overall special teams unit of the Bengals, coverage, punt coverage, kick return, punt return, we're one of the best in the league. I mean, we're one of the best in the league, and not the best, but I mean, top 8. Now the kicking, amplifies that. And I guess it does fall on Darren Simmons' shoulders, but special teams is more, coverage units, kick units, return, and all that. The Bengals were really good last year.
They were good on kick coverage. There's no doubt about. I mean, part of that, Mon, is we got a guy that can kick the damn thing 70, 80 yards. That helps, obviously.
Right.
But I'm saying, when you look at the play of Evan McPherson, who 3 games came down to Evan McPherson's leg, and we were 0-3. I think he's got to
make those kicks. He's got to make those kicks.
I don't think it can be overlooked at where that part, because being a special teams coach, right, is all special teams has got to be good, right? Just like offensive coach or offensive coordinator, you have to be able to move the football, and all parts of the offense have to work together. And same with the defensive thing. Again, Lou got fired because of it. My thing is, as a head coach, I'm looking at it like, yes, we did a great job on kick coverage. Again, part of that I think is the new kickoff special teams rules. I think the other part of it is we got a punter that can boot the ball 80 yards, so it flips the field position and helps off. Where the coaching really comes in is is that those moments where it's the snap and the hold and the kick,
Yeah.
and we failed miserably at that. So I just think Darren's got to. I think he's got to be on the seat a little bit.
I don't think he's ever going to be on a hot seat. He's been a head coaching candidate out there because of his prowess. I just don't see there many opportunities where he could have done things differently. The only thing, and you can't put 3 games on Evan. You maybe can put one, but you got to put it on the long snapper. The snaps are not there, Jake. That kick against Baltimore, there's no way Evan's making that. That it was just a bad
But
snap,
Eric, that's
bad
all
hold.
part of it, though, right?
No,
I
no,
mean,
I know
that's the
absolutely.
hold and
You
kick. That's part
the
of it. Yeah.
there's only 2 things that Darren Simmons could have done differently last year. We didn't have all this information. There's only 2 things he could have done. He could have gone with a different long snapper. He could have called Clark Harris and said, "Hey, you want to come out of retirement? Come back because the kicking game has been crap since you got injured." That's one. That's probably the only thing you can do unless there's another long snapper out there he could have brought in. And he went with his guy. He wanted to give Cal Adamitis the go, and he still give him a shot. He could have done that. He didn't. And then none of us knew that Evan McPherson was dealing with an injury. He had to have known. He could have said, "You're going on IR earlier." Evan ended up making that decision. Darren could have made that decision. We could have brought in Cade York a little bit earlier. Would that have helped? I don't know. But that's really the only 2 things that were in his control.
He was
We
pretty
had one
scary
of the,
himself.
what's
Cade
that?
York scared me a few
Yeah,
times
yeah,
last
and
year.
we even saw a doink there in the
Oh,
Broncos game.
it's Cade
Um,
York.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
but those are the only decisions that he could have changed last year, and it's hard to make those 2 decisions when you've got Money Mac, who's been historically so good, and you've got a young long snapper that you still isn't really fully developed. Go ahead, Mon.
Let's take a timeout real quick. I'm sorry. Before we started, I watched the Netflix documentary, half of it, and I'm borderline mental because it opened up so many wounds, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't believe
you're already
I can't,
borderline mental.
I can't believe they showed the Patriot game, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. My throat hurts. I'm pissed.
Oh,
Let's change it. Let's talk 3 positives. What's your 3 most promising takes going into training camp? Eric, 3 most promising things that you're looking forward to going into training camp.
I mean, 17 and Joe, obviously. I'm very, very excited for Dylan. You guys know I'm gonna ride that train until we lose a game. I'm very excited for Dylan Fairchild. I think he is it. I'm really excited for Scott Peters. I do think that this offensive line can jump into the top 20 just because of his technique that he's going to be teaching these guys alone. So that's kind of one that, the offensive line I am excited for this year. Could it have been better? Absolutely. Good is the enemy of great. I think we got a good start. We could have had a great offensive line if we added one more piece. We didn't. So I'm excited about that. Number 2, I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm excited for the fact that we have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins under contract that's not hanging over our heads. They're going to go out there, they're going to put their heart and soul on the field, and they're going to play free. And then I am excited about this youth movement on the defense. I think Al Golden is going to teach these young men, and he's going to let them make their mistakes, and he's going to reinvigorate a defense that when we went and made those Super Bowl runs, there was only, a couple texts where Jake said this defense was bad as opposed to 98 a game. Uh, I'm excited for that. I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get a lot less of Jake's auto messages.
Mon, why in the hell would you go with Eric first? He just gave you 12. I have nothing to say now. Why would you start with Eric first?
And thanks for joining us, guys.
Mon, Eric literally sits on his desk at work and just writes up positive Bengal stuff. Why would you start with him first? I have nothing to say. He covered
Don't you journal? They say if you want to manifest, you got to write all the things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for Dylan Fairchild. I'm grateful for Al Golden. Yes, there you go.
They must count to 3 differently in the Dakotas because that was like 12.
You betcha.
I do want to agree with Eric. I think I am excited about the youth movement of the defense. I really am. Like I'm really trying to be positive about this defensive thing because I know that the Bengals they just need to get a little bit better on defense, right? And I'm excited about. You said it earlier, Mon, and you're so right. Sometimes it just takes a fresh voice, right? It takes a new voice in the room, I'm excited about the Al Golden defense. I really am. I was not pumped when they hired him, but I do like the youth movement, and I think again out of Eric's 12, the
It was
fact that
3.
the fact that Jamar Chase and T Higgins now are locked up for at least the next 4 years, T being 4, Jamar being 5. Uh, I think that in itself is extremely exciting. And knock on wood that Joe Burrow is actually going to have a healthy offseason. Those things to me are very exciting. Obviously, I'll be a lot more excited when Trey Hendrickson signs, but I think those two things to me that youth movement on the defensive side of the ball, and I think the offense coming into camp with all engines firing, I think is very exciting. When you look at what the offense did last year, Joe Burrow, you could very much argue that he should have been the MVP last year. And if they win 2 more games, he probably is the MVP. So that to me is exciting because last year, the offense last year in training camp was kind of like the defense is going through right now with Trey and all that crap and everything that happened last year with T and all that. So the offense firing on full cylinders, I'm very excited about. And I like our draft. I really did like our draft, guys. I'm excited about the draft. And that includes if Shamar doesn't play. I'm still excited about it. I love what they did at guard. I love what they did at running back. And I love the youth movement on defense, Mom. What do you think? What are your 3?
My 3 is a cluster. It's going to be, I'm going to piggyback on what you said. I am excited about some of our draft picks, but I need the 2022 draft picks to come in and play. I'm going to give you 3.
Ooh, I like
Dax,
that.
Cam Taylor, and Tyson Anderson's already a great special teamer. He's our best special teams player. I'm going to include Hill, Britt, and Volson because Volson's going to play a lot, and I want to see him respond to Scott Peters. We need those guys to improve their play and become productive pros. What I need is I need the first 3 picks from our 2023 draft to come in because the guys below them are already good pros. Murphy, Turner, and Battle. Man, it is so – those 3 guys alone, forget the 2022, those 3 guys alone is huge for the defense. They have to come in and give us quality snaps. And, of course, you just mentioned the guys – Shamar Stewart, I said this on Spaces. I said it on Twitter. I said it on the show last week. I think come week 10, week 11, nobody's going to talk about this fiasco, the silliness of the offseason. I think he's going to be a productive player, and Bengal fans are going to fall in love with him. He is too talented not to succeed. Not being a homer, I really, really think this guy is going to freaking be a difference maker. He's a super athlete with a nonstop motor. You can't beat that combination. I really think he's going to be a great pro. And you know what, Jake? You love those draft picks, the linebackers on draft night. I was a little lukewarm about it. I wasn't crazy about it. But the more I read about Al Golden and his defense that requires linebacker play, Carter and Knight are going to be big-time contributors this year. They're going to be on the field a lot. If they don't contribute, it's not going to be because they weren't given an opportunity. They're going to be out there a lot, and I'm excited about them.
I love what you said about the 22 draft because, man, you are 100% right about that. I mean, Dax Hill, Cam Taylor, Britt, and really, when you look if this safety room doesn't change, Tyson Anderson has got to contribute on defense, not just on special teams. I know he's a great special teams guy, but he's got to contribute. And I would even go as far to say as some of those other defensive draft picks like you named. I think those guys have to be contributors to this defense. And I think that's what's exciting is now with Al Golden in, maybe those guys are going to get the opportunity to, because really, yes, there's a lot of pressure on Al Golden, but you, good Lord, I mean, honestly, it's got to be pretty easy to be better than giving up 25 points a game. Like that's pretty easy, I think, to bounce back from. It should be at least. 25 points a game is a lot, on a 17 game stretch. So I'm with you, man. I think all these young guys, Miles Murphy, you named him on, Jackson and all of that whole defensive line there's a big youth movement there. All of those guys have got to be contributors on this defense. Eric, Chris Jenkins, yes, King Shiesty,
Yeah.
Jenkins as
Yeah.
well.
It's not just the new guys coming in. It's not just it's last year's, it's the season before. All those guys that Lou wouldn't let play, they have to see the field. Tyson Anderson has to see the field. I've been pounding the table for that since he had a breakout preseason 2 preseasons ago. It's keep using this term, but it's malpractice to let that guy be what he is on defense, on special teams, and not give him a shot on defense because he is so fast, he's so talented, he tracks those guys down so well. That's what your defense needs. So yeah, it's youth movement, and it's got to be everybody.
Listen, 513, our dog, very easy. He's telling us guards, pass rush, money mac. Those three things get better. 513, I agree 100%. If those three things are better,
When they're better.
this
When they're
team is
better.
this team is competing for a Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and that's not a homer take, but if we get better guard play, if we get a top 20 pass rush and Money Mac is better, this team is a Super Bowl contender. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
If Scott Peters turns this offensive line into a top 15, top 10 potential unit, he should get head coaching consideration. I don't mean that to be a smart butt. I really don't. But if Scott Peters can get this offensive line in the upper tier, that's one hell of a coaching job. One hell of a coaching job. I hope he can. I hope he can.
Doesn't Vegas have the Bengals as the number 3 highest odds to make the Super Bowl?
6.
6? Oh, is it 3 in the AFC? It's probably. I think they're third in the AFC.
There's a bunch of sports books out there. I think I saw them 6th. I mean, that's guys. Jake, you say it every episode. You say it in our text. I mean, we all agree. It's Joe Burrow. I mean,
yeah.
Joe Burrow. I mean, like Warren Sharp, we talked about him. Under pressure, the most pressured quarterback, when he's under duress, his completion percentage drops a small amount. When Josh Allen, when Lamar Jackson, other elite quarterbacks are having that same type of pressure, they fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Their completion percentage.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, there's not a tougher quarterback in football. He might not be the biggest, may not be the fastest, but that guy is tough as nails. And man, we are blessed to have him. Blessed.
100%. Eric, I know we're getting close to the hour mark. You want to talk about? Well, let's make sure we talk about Ace and Zim's show tomorrow, and then our show coming up. Let everybody know what we have going on. A lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, Mon brought it up, and I think they dropped the time. Ace and Zim have Warren Sharp tomorrow. I believe it's at 3 o'clock. He's going to dive deep into all the analytics, all the stuff that we've been talking about. Mon gets so deep into that stuff. They got him on. It's going to be a great show. Tune in live, watch it on replay, watch it as many times as you can. I think it's going to be great. If you can tune in live, throw some questions in the chat. I think if you have a good one, they're probably going to throw them at him. Follow that up. We've got a cool show lined up. It's going to be a special day. We're not going to be live, but Jake and Mon are going to sit down with the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Hobson on Friday. So we're going to probably drop that Friday night for you all. Jeff is awesome. It's always a great interview. So grateful and appreciative that he's come back every year to the Pulse. So guys are going to sit down with him, talk Bengals, maybe talk a little bit baseball. I'm sure they're going to talk about Mon's mustache or wherever it goes. It's all you never know where it goes
The
with Jeff
Beatles.
Hobson,
The
but you love
Beatles.
it.
That's right. Dan
I'm gonna
Hord's in the Beatles now. Dan Hord's in the Beatles, and Jeff Hobson to Duran Duran. All right.
Yeah, just don't say he's a Partridge Family. Just make sure you you get him something epic out there. But it's going to be great. So tune in Friday night. I think we'll probably drop that about 7:30. We are looking forward to the conversation, and always a good time when Jeff joins us.
100%, 100%. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, we love you guys. We appreciate you. You guys are absolutely the best. Make sure you tune in, like Eric said, tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Join Ace and Zim as they have Warren Sharp on. Going to talk all Bengals analytics that you can get. I know Mon will definitely be tuning into that, as will I and Eric. And then make sure you check us out Friday night. We will let you know what time that is going to drop as Mon and I sit down with Jeff Hobson, Bengals writer. We're going to talk about what's coming up, training camp, maybe the Trey Hendrickson situation. All the Bengals information that you can stand is going to be Friday night. Again, Eric will let you guys know on Twitter when that time will drop. But thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We very much appreciate that. Follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Cincinnati Podcast Network on Twitter at Cincinnati Pod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at The Bengals Pulse. Follow us on Instagram, the same without the @ The Bengals Pulse. And make sure you tune in Friday, again, as Mon and I sit down with the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff the Man Hobson. It's going to be a great show. He is Eric. Mon, I am
Hold on.
Jake. And Eric, yes?
I just saw a quote, a question up here, and I got to throw it up there. I got to give shout out to Heather. Lou asked what the record is on the wall, and this is not a record. This is a really, really cool art piece that Mon's wife Heather made and gifted to me, and that's why I put it up here. I'm proud of it. I don't know the craft. Oh, look, Jake's got one too. So I don't. Where's Mon's?
Actually, hold on one second. Hold on.
He only likes Eric and I. She didn't
Oh,
get
okay.
I got a bigger one.
Oh, it's not the size of the art, Mon. Don't be compensating.
All right, we got to get out of here.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys. Appreciate you guys. Hoo-day. We will see you guys on Friday.
See ya.